to bring either his second deck, or bring the same one. Lumi forced to switch to his Storm deck, I believe.
I was feeling
The
very,
big
very
question here,
comfortable on Mono Blue against Storm.
will we see Outworld again? Swim does
Because
not have
that's
to
a
play the
very
same
favorable
deck. He
matchup
could
for Mono
switch
Blue.
it, or he could go all in on that Massacre. What is your prediction,
I have to
Panda?
click Slack, stop moving me.
What is your prediction,
We're
Panda?
jumping into the game first. We're going to see
That you can't.
Mono Blue, and so I
Okay,
predict
so
he will
this
bring
is
Outworld.
gonna be
Holy woly.
this is gonna be more
Mr.
interesting.
Swim
This is a game where I can actually talk
brings
about
it
a lot.
back
So
after the spanking with
I think
that Outworld
this is gonna be
yet
the most
again,
interesting
he is
game if
not
you're
ready to move on to
interested
that
in my
second deck.
commentary.
Now we saw this matchup already
'Cause I think
played in
I'll
the
be
first
able to
weekly
say the
tournament,
most
actually.
about
Mello
Mono
was
Blue
the
in
only
general.
player to start playing Mono Blue in the meta before anyone else.
So
and
the first
he made
thing
past
the first thing
groups,
to
so he
explain,
lost.
I'm gonna actually explain my hero deployment. So some of you might have already noticed my Kana is actually coming out on the river with this version of the deck, which seems strange to a lot of people because she has the biggest stat line in terms of total stats. The reason I put the Kana out on the river, whereas pretty much everyone else is deploying her, I like being able to position her with more information about what's happening on the board. And while she has a high health stat, I don't really care about keeping her alive. And she has a pretty mediocre passive and attack stat as well. Any other hero has at least 3 attack, so you can ignite the Ogre Lane to kill his creep, OD will smash a creep, Zeus can cast 1 spell to kill a creep, whereas Kana isn't going to be able to kill the creep in front of her, which is a really big deal. Her high health stat is kind of nice, but also oftentimes when you're using at any cost, if you want to cast it from the Kana, it has to be on the lane she's deploying into, and I'll often want to play it on mana 5. So I really just like being able to play her passive reactively, respond to what the board state is, and not let my opponent respond to where my Kana is. I just want to like keep it,
I believe, to a few Storm decks.
keep it
because
for as
was
late as possible.
One of the most popular decks in that tournament.
Oh, whoa, look at that.
Also,
mirror matchup.
heroes
I've
dying
never
early
seen
isn't
such
really a
mirror
big deal.
before.
I'm okay with that
Michael
happening.
Jackson was right. The man in the mirror is very scary.
In fact, there's gonna be a point where I had a choice to save my Luna. It's gonna happen in a minute here. You're gonna see the casters. I think they might be confused by it. Or they might mention it. It won me this game.
Double Ogre first lane, double Ignite coming down, guaranteeing value.
It single-handedly won me this game.
And Stars Line is available for
we have
later.
pretty much the entire combo already in hand.
Yikes.
Incarnation,
Yikes.
Stars Align,
Yikes.
Agony and Sanctum. From turn 6, we can already start ramping up into that Incarnation. The Foresight is there to card draw, to get that infinite combo going with the cycling, and then the impactful plays like Thunder God's Wrath that is in the deck. He is running the Zeus instead of the Luna, which we saw, I believe it was Stormlight running earlier in the day.
So we managed to
This is
snipe
a
the Drow.
concerning
That was good.
situation, as we have seen so far.
You want to predict where the Drow is going.
Help ramp up
It's a little
even
tricky
more.
sometimes,
There is not
but
currently
Lumi
a
really
hero here.
favors
What
left,
the big
and
thing with
I
Storm
think he
deck
goes
is
mid when the Ignite's
the
there.
mix
I was
and
able to
match
predict it
of
right,
blue
which
and
is
green.
nice.
We do have that in the middle
The
lane,
way,
though, my friend.
as
Do
Mono
for
Blue
now.
you play against Storm
This is getting very,
is
very
you
stressful.
basically just try to
Lewis
punish
has
the Drow
everything
and
he needs.
contest her and
Swim
kill her
has
as
to
much
do
as
something.
possible.
Swim has a very clear idea of what Storm wants to do, and will do his best to stop the solitaire play from
Multicast.
White Dragon. And Foresight, multicast is one way to do it.
That is great. Double Astral Imprisonments there.
Now, there is no Demagicking Maul in the deck for Swim, so no counter to Sanctum.
This is rough. This is hard so
Lower
far.
mod volume.
What do you do
VOD
here? I mean,
volume?
there's not a lot of
VOD
answers you
volume?
have except
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try to get some more cards potentially. You could.
I want to hear what they're saying,
imprison
because it's actually
the-
important.
Oh, it's just, what do you do? Is going to be a Roseleaf Druid. Sir, Storm is ready. The clouds are building. I'm afraid.
So,
The Roseleaf Druid, you can Stars Align,
Let's hear what they
and once
say.
you refresh, you'll be at 9 mana next turn. And the combo can already go off on turn 3.
No.
The fastest possible way to combo with this deck. That being said, Swim at 5 mana at any cost will be the only answer to that play.
That is true.
Eclipse can also get a few lucky charges onto Drow or the Roseleaf Druid.
Well, he does have Astral Imprisonment, so he could imprison the Drow Ranger.
That is also true.
Okay.
Initiative will have to be in his favor. If the Stars line comes down first, you'll have to Astral Imprisonment the Kana, but if Zeus goes into that lane as well, then there will still be a blue hero available. So,
Okay,
initiative
so-
currently in the favor of Swim.
He has
I'm gonna talk about
keep his
I'm gonna
head
talk
down
about
in this one.
the core of this matchup. So it's a really hard matchup to play. I practiced it a bit. I practiced it with Hyped for about 2 hours preceding this match. It's actually possible that that actually kind of helped me win, because I learned a few things about how to play around it. Okay, so it's honestly not a problem when their combo goes off early. In fact, I think it's actually a misplay for Storm to blow their load early in this matchup. Storm players will get excited and try to use their combo when they can, if they have it early, and maybe they need to. But because I have the ability to actually counterplay it, them getting it off early means they often run themselves out of steam, and we're going to see an overcommitment by Lumi representative of that. It's extremely important that I let that Luna die just now off of the Astral Imprisonment. If I hadn't let that Luna die, I would lose the game on the spot. And the reason for that is because Storm can win the game in one turn, it's imperative that you have a hero dying every single turn. There's no turn in the entire game where you can afford to let a hero not die. You need to have a hero dying every single turn of the game, or you have a chance to just lose. Because if Storm goes off, if the Storm player is good, they'll find one window where you don't have a deploy coming in, and they'll threaten one-shotting your tower in that window, right? And even if you have like a blink, it gives up initiative, and you can't always play for it. And they'll have something like a gust. You need to have a deployment every single turn, or you will lose against a good Storm player.
I'm not even sure that he can cast anything but Arcane Assault in that first lane, which isn't the worst thing in the world. He does have Ogres with the hope of multicasting. But if he doesn't imprison that Drow Ranger, we're going to have some serious issues. 2 creeps even going in the mid to supplement that quorum.
Now, if Lumi goes to the lane 3, he has Roseleaf Druid on both lanes 2 and 3, but he does not have the Sanctum on lane 3. That is the big problem. He needs the Sanctum for this combo to work this turn.
That is the question. Will Swim know what's
with initiative, Gust is also in hand for Lumi.
Oh no.
Which means that even with the Astral Imprisonment, there's not going to be an answer. You can Gust, start a line, and then refresh. And you're still going to be up to 9 mana, so this is all about initiative wars now for Swim.
Hold your breath, Artifact gamers. Will he be able to play that Arcane Assault? Will he have the knowledge to have initiative?
He has the Sanctum. He can first affect the board. He can play an Eclipse and clear this out, refresh, and then play Arcane Assault to guarantee initiative.
I won't say he can play Eclipse, because he only has 5 mana, my friend, but he can Compel. He can Astral Imprison. He can get that initiative, but is it worth it?
Now, if Lumi does not make any plays, Swim can be scared of the Arcane Assault to answer back from Lumi. He does have 2 in the deck, so it is not currently in hand, but Swim does not know this.
Yes.
And it could affect his gameplay here.
As mentioned before, the Astral Imprisonment ended up being extremely powerful here. So I'm going to compel this either way, and after that I decided to save my Ogre. But the reason I saved my Ogre, and this is a really important thought process, I realized my OD mid was dying. Again, you have to have a hero die every turn. If OD's not dying mid, I literally lose the game by saving my Ogre here.
I think he does not have
So
an option.
let's watch
He
what
must
happens
get that
because this
initiative.
Ogre stays
He must
alive.
prevent that ramp. Although we know the ramp is coming, he might not. And he will act.
So
Imprisonment
Astral
comes
Imprisonment
out
happens
instead,
here
so now
and saves
Swim
the Ogre.
will be punished. Gust will come down. Both blue heroes are together. Gust comes down, silences both heroes. Is not an item or a Jasper Daggers in hand for Swim. Stars a line, Sanctum refresh, and Incarnation of Salamene comes down. The earliest possible turn.
Oh!
He uses that mana effectively first, finds a second Incarnation.
Oh!
The refresh comes out, and now
Oh!
infinite combo available for Lumi.
Oh!
But he's
So
missing.
Lumi's going to town
the
on
card
me a little
draw.
bit here.
He does not have an ogre in this.
Something
It
that's
doesn't matter.
very important to
Thundergod's
note,
Wrath, it kills everyone
he
as well.
chooses
This
to
is
play the second
atrocious.
Salamene.
And this is Lumi showing the power of this deck. We saw it lose. Moogie Baby was running the same deck. Did
Oh.
not find the answers, but here we see.
Make a fitting sacrifice to the dire.
1 damage off the literal perfect
But
hand.
Incarnation will come down and the damage is secured. Blue Swim laughs maniacally, but he knows that this game is pretty much over.
Does he
No, it's
know
not.
that
How's it over?
for this man has
What the
gone
hell are
through
these-
adversity. This
What are these
might
casters
seem
smoking?
like the end to many a player, but to a man of Swim's caliber, an evil
Thank you,
genius
Slacks.
himself, a man like that never
Okay,
surrenders.
so for
As the
Lumi,
game continues.
Town Portal Scroll from
it might have
Lumi.
been proper to
Annihilation
commit that
is up next
Salamene.
turn.
The fact that
Window will be coming
the
down
tower lives
next
if he
turn
doesn't
onto
play
that
it
second
actually kind
lane.
of sucks for him.
try and answer
But it
back.
might have been an overcommitment at the same time.
Luminous has just been winning games at such
So,
speed in this tournament. Two things
things happened
headed
here.
to the mid.
This game is instantly lost if 2 things don't happen. I let my Luna die on turn 2 of the game because I have no other heroes dying and she respawns into the Annihilation turn. Otherwise, he literally one-shots my Ancient. The second thing that happened is I used Astral to save my Ogre to guarantee I would have initiative mid even if he had Arcane Assault, right? If either of those things doesn't happen, I lose the game on the spot to him having Arcane Assault and Gust.
RNG for Lumi. The White Dragon is incredible. The perfect hand for Storm. All the creeps going to Kana's
And this
lane,
is very
which
often how the
so
Storm matchup
unpredictable.
goes.
Now initiative in favor of Swim.
Which
and
is the
Arcane
Storm player
Assault
blows their load early,
means
and
that there's
if you
a very
can
high chance
ensure
Swim
that
can
you
get
can
off Annihilation in lane
kill
two.
the lane,
Yes. But will
then
it
you're
matter,
in a
my
good
friend?
position.
Well, Lumi will have to start thinking about taking a different tower now. This will not be an ancient race. Annihilation can't come down. Cheating Death is no longer a thing. Cannot save that lane for Lumi.
With that mana expelled, he does have a few options here, of course. With that refresh, we could be seeing potentially that Eclipse, but it doesn't have that much charge. He's actually just going to keep the initiative, and he's going to hold on for that Annihilation. Now, a lot of eggs were put into this basket. The Ancient is gone, granted, but now all those big cards are dead. So we have just turned this into a regular game. Storm has been dealt with. And now it's time to move on. Can Swim get his bearings back in this game, my friend?
Both incarnations have been played, like you said, so that is no longer an option. There are still 2 emissaries in the deck. We're going back into the normal.
So we want to
mana
apply a bit of
ranges.
pressure here. Let's check
And
the
now
situation
Lumi has
out.
to-
Let's look at my hand. We've got Diabolic and Dimensional Portal in this situation. What would you guys do here? Would you play the Dimensional Portal before the Diabolic or after? So the answer is you almost always should play the Dimensional Portal before the Diabolic, because you would rather have a 2 health creep than a 4 health creep. The reason is because Prey on the Weak. You'll see in this case I deviate from this play line. I use the Diabolic before, and the reason for that is because I saw Lumi had 2
To take
conflagrations
only one
in his
tower,
deck.
but Swim has done a good job of resetting the second lane. He found the Annihilation, he found the initiative as well. He had the Sanctum to refresh just in case with Arcane Assault in hand. And now we're back, like you said, to normal.
Yeah, that's right. We have a couple options here. Of course, Diabolical Revelation might not be the worst play in the world. Go for that card draw, but that lock is doing work. That's gotta hurt. Dimensional Portal getting an even bigger army. We might later see a
So
nice
these 4
play
health
for
creeps,
Prey on
because
the
I did it
Weak.
in that order, will
And,
survive one turn to conflagration.
Oh, doing some decent damage here, but he's running out of time.
The Arcane Assault is used.
Running out of
Now being
time? I have
multicasted,
3
and all these
minutes.
cards will be unlocked next turn.
That's nice.
Initiative in favor of Swim, though. Eclipse is now available in lane 1. It does have
timer
up
bugged or
to, I
something?
believe, 4 charges,
How do I have
That
3
is
minutes?
and it can,
So here we're
Kill
just deploying
Zeus.
2. We have initiative.
if it's lucky.
So
Look here.
something
Both
really
gamma
interesting
keys.
happened is he got a creep spawn left, right? So our Eclipse is at 4 charges without Luna coming in with an Ignite on the lane. If he doesn't get a creep spawn left, I think we put Zeus left. If the Ogre goes left, we Annihilate. If the Ogre goes anywhere else, we Eclipse and take it. The fact that he put a creep left, or that he got 1 creep spawn left, actually changes things. It means we're not able to basically go for the Annihilation, for the Eclipse that we want to, but we still need to stabilize this lane.
We only have 1.
I think a really important
This
thing
is a time, I mean,
in terms
Swim
of
has
playing
been
mono
very
blue.
adamant about not having multiple bolts in his deck, but this is the kind of game where having multiple ones could be your only way out.
The most important thing about mono blue is understanding in each matchup how liberal or conservative you have to be with your annihilations, right? Some matchups you want to use them aggressively if you get decent value. Some matchups you need to save them. A great example of a matchup where you need to save it is Time of Triumph. If you use them too early, then when they time and you need to actually deal with their timed heroes and you can't because nothing but Annihilation kills them, you're going to be screwed. This is a matchup where conversely, especially because we dealt with his combo already, we're okay using our Annihilation a lot more aggressively and settling for a lower
However,
bound of value for it.
we do have Ogre Magi, so there is a chance we could see
Because
multiple
if we,
bolts
I mean,
this
let's
game.
just think about how this
Talking
game is going
about
to play
setup.
out, right?
Yes.
Swim has 2 Sanctums.
When are we going to get better
He has
Annihilation
2
value?
Ignites already down as well. And he has a
'Cause he's
very,
already
very
used
wide
everything
lane
he
with
has.
Kana.
Yes.
And we're winning at all lanes.
So that makes a big deal. The possibility for double Thunder God's Wrath against these very low HP heroes, supplemented by those Ignites to get their health just in the right spot, could be coming out here, as we see.
That being said,
Yeah.
Ignite and Conflagration can completely destroy the Kana lane altogether.
Oh yeah, that would be rough. So we will see that most likely. Conflagration ready to be used by White Dragon, knocking out a lot of those creeps that Kana is so desperately trying to build an army. And there we go. After you play a blue card, there's a 50% chance. A blue card. Annihilation.
Yeah. And
2
we
for
use it
1
here.
trade here for Swim, and his game is to stall out. That's what he wants to do. He wants to wait.
It's a solid trade.
So that 10 man.
So always think about the Annihilation trade. It doesn't really look that good, but think about it objectively. So we're killing 1 creep net, we're killing 1 hero net because he's losing 2 and we're losing 1. we're slowing the game down, but that's effectively it is asymmetrical. I benefit from the game being slowed down more, but we can actually just skip that as a factor, right? So you look at that trade and it's kind of like a coup, right? It's like it's one net hero and one creep. That's pretty good. Like, you don't really get more value out of it for the rest of this
But
game.
that's only
bolt.
one bolt, though. He's got to be
bolt.
doing some damage here. He's got
While
to
he
get...
stopped plays like Conflagration and Ignite from going into the third
I was
lane,
thinking
and
about
his
Thunder
Kana's
Godsing
already
that
been worked there,
instead.
so
But
for
I really
how
wanted to
long?
kill that Hourglass,
Conflagration
and
comes
Thunder
down.
Gods is going to get value later in the game.
I don't know about that one. That was
Like,
a chance to...
the way to think about it, and this is really important, this is a control mirror, which means it's just a value exchange game and looking ahead for value. The question you have to ask yourself, this is the one question. I've got Annihilation, I've got Thunder Gods. Thunder Gods is pretty good there, right? A second Thunder Gods for mid would wipe everything. Feels pretty good, right? Annihilation is a good card. Which do I use? The answer is I'm actually going to get better Thunder Gods Wrath later, whereas I'm not really going to get better Annihilation value later, right? Like, that Thunder Gods could have been good. Both were good plays there, but think about which one you're going to get more value out of later. Thunder Gods is actually always going to be a good card, whereas Annihilation, based on this matchup, how this is going to go, I'm pretty much not going to need this later. I've got the third one in my hand. If he ever goes off once, A, I'm probably usually dead at that point, but B, I'm not going to need to be holding an extra one, right? Thunder Gods will actually be
But
even
maybe
better
get a double
later,
Thunder God's
because
Wrath off
when you can
and
kind of
kill the
like
entire
slam the board
lane.
with
That would've
it,
been 3
you're going to
heroes
win the
dead.
game
If
off
you want to
this.
stall, that's a pretty good way to stall, buddy.
Prey on the Weak is not in hand for Swim. Would be really a tower winning play
Yes.
in that third lane.
Does
Yeah,
have some more
I was
card draw
pretty
if he
sad I
wishes,
didn't have
though.
Prey
Arcane
there.
Assault is available, so he could try for that desperation move. You will see a Stonehall Cloak.
Now the Sanctum can come in from Lumi to play the Ignite, and that would almost kill every single creep as soon as they come in, so that would be a big deal. Would not get an upkeep kill on Kana or on most of these healthy creeps, but would really just stop this damage coming in.
He knows that's got to be coming, though. The Eclipse is available to play, so he is going to go ahead and knock out that Ogre with the new machine gun Eclipse.
So I want to talk about that
Arcane-
Eclipse. It probably looked kind of weird. Honestly, it might have been a misplay. It's possible. That was a bit of a commitment. So one of the things about Hourglass, so I want to say, you can see a second locked Eclipse in my hand here. One of the interesting things about Hourglass, you can think about Hourglass's effect to like make your opponent discard 2 cards, right? It's kind of like double Potion of Knowledge. It costs 10, Potion of Knowledge costs 5. It makes your opponent effectively discard 2 cards. Because by locking 2 cards every turn for 1 turn, they're always having 2 less options per turn. It's very similar to a discard 2. The one difference is you can actually see what you're about to draw, basically, right? Like, I can see that I'm about to draw the other Eclipse, so I can use this one more liberally. And again, this is a matchup where I feel I can do this. I can use things more aggressively. I've got the other Eclipse coming in. I'm not really going to be getting great value out of this because I'm kind of killing his heroes on a stagger. I've got Thunder Gods to supplement. I don't really need to be holding onto
Warrior.
this.
And
Honestly,
the situation gets a little bit
I was a
better
little
as we're
afraid of
still
him
looking
having
for
the
those
second
big,
conflag, which
big
is why I did
cards
that.
for Swim to come back.
It's
The
possible
importance of
holding
this
onto
chip
it is a
damage
little
onto
bit better
these
there, honestly.
lanes 1 and
But
2.
that's my
Trying to
reasoning
get
at
that
the
under
time.
20, under the bolt range.
Ugh. If only we had a doggy here. But no doggies have been found. You do have the chance to do an Arcane Assault to try to draw it, but initiative is so important coming up here.
With the Sanctum, you can play Conflagration into that first lane like we see there.
Very
Refresh,
nice.
and then still play Arcane Assault for initiative next
Yep.
turn.
Just sucks. If the doggies come here, that will break a heart. As we will see the Refresh most likely in the Arcane Assault to follow up. Taking time out here.
Swim
This
down
is-
to 2 minutes still. Very healthy clock there. Lumi, 4.25.
I mean, Lumi hasn't had to think about a lot. He's
That
Almost
is that is a
420.
very
He's got-
healthy clock for
Whoa!
me.
What a tank reference. Thank you, Panda. Almost 420. All right, Town Portal Scroll.
Yeah. So
After he
I was a
gets
little dubious
mana?
about giving up initiative here,
Question mark.
Could
but
have confused Lumi for a
I
second at least.
needed to
Why?
get my Kana with
Why
Hourglass
would you
healed and out of this conflag lane.
Whatever.
This conflag actually really messed
People
with me.
can change their minds, Slacks. It is an option.
Nah, not in this level of play, buddy. Here we are.
Giving up
14
initiative
damage.
on
She
this
will
turn feels
receive
bad,
3.
but I had no choice.
By entering that lane. That's pretty rough for old Kana.
Well, it could be worse. 16 damage on the other Kana, only receiving 1.
Oh!
Oh, here's a
Now
comment.
this is exactly.
Is it, so I actually want to respond to this because this is it's a good point. So I would disagree with using Annihilation there because Thunder God's 4 piercing damage will be weaker as the opponent heroes get more health through items, whereas Annihilation doesn't care about health count, so it'll still be an option later. So this is an interesting comment. Obviously it's wrong, but that's kind of why I'm bringing it up, because it's kind of important to note. So it's very true that Thunder Gods does sort of get weaker over time if the opponent buys health items, but when you have the ability to effectively shut them out of play options, is really important. I think the problem with that statement is it is looking at the game a little too mathematically, which a mathematical approach is good, but as long as you're not leaving out factors. For example, you can look at Annihilation. Annihilation does get worse over time. It doesn't have a number on the card, right? But it does very much get worse over time, because the whole point of this matchup is I'm controlling the board. As soon as I annihilate once, I own the board, because you've blown your load and I'm never going to give the board back to you, right? In a game like that, Annihilation is effectively going to be useless, right? It might not seem like it at first, but we'll see how this game plays out, and I think it'll be maybe more apparent.
Arcana wants to go. I mean, get a little bit of damage here, maybe get some creeps over there.
Teachable
and then do
moment,
a
yeah.
Nice doggy double play, I would assume, to take a tower.
The doggy double play.
That's right. You know the doggy double. 2 prey on the way. Every time I say something, you just look over at someone like you're trying to get them to help you. You cannot leave. You're mine for this fragile moment in time. Here we go.
Kana, though, at 4 attack.
Oh,
So
look
much
out, Kana.
double the attack of the other Kana, much more aggressive. But, ooh, 5 attack actually with Drow.
Wow. This is
Hourglass
truly
comes in.
obliterating orb coming
So
out. A 10 gold purchase. That
We were a little afraid of this deployment. This is an interesting deployment, actually. This is an important turn. So we put a single Kana left. He put his Kana left. We're afraid of him playing for Annihilation, and it looks like that's exactly what he did, right? He has this Annihilation here he wants to use. Annihilation is a card. You really have to value this card differently depending on the matchup that you're in, right? Because Annihilation is a very brickable card, especially because he plays 3 blue heroes, and I will brick it either by stealing the board with initiative and locking it out, or by not really giving it too much value. I'm actually playing to counter it, right? Like, again, Annihilation isn't actually that good of a card here. This is a pretty weak Annihilation matchup, and I'm basically making it weaker by playing around it very carefully. I really wanted to play a second hero left, but because he has Luna, I don't really care about undercommitting. And this is why Luna's so strong, right? You look at this sort of lineup. Look, we have Eclipse in our hand. He doesn't, because he's not running Luna. 1 deploy to 1 deploy. Whoever has initiative, if they have Eclipse, they shut out, right? And if Eclipse is a threat, that means you have to play 2 heroes to dodge Eclipse, but then you're playing into Annihilation. So this is a big difference between our decks. The fact that I have Luna and he doesn't. Now, I didn't put my Luna left, but she has 4 charges, which is everything I need to be able to kill this Kana here if I want to.
Oh no. Ignite, heading in that middle lane.
Not many plays left for Lumi.
So at this point, I'm playing around Quorum. I'm very scared of him playing a Quorum mid with
the obliterating
Drow.
orb will be a painful
So I just want to lock this Drow out of
very
place.
large amount of mana.
Also,
spent
disabling
in
the
this
aura
lane.
is just nice.
Swim, of course, does pay a lot of attention to people's gold. He does know what's in his deck. But
Honestly,
we will
I wasn't
see
counting his
an
gold.
attempted potentially double Thunder God's Wrath be
I don't know. I don't really
thwarted
believe
here
in counting gold.
with obliterating orb.
There it is, the orb zaps.
Okay.
Stormtrooper
Let's talk about this
zap
orb.
there.
So, Obliterating Orb. It's an interesting card. Let's talk about what it actually accomplished there. So, our objective was playing around Quorum on Drow. Now, we see he doesn't have Quorum in hand, but stopping him from playing the secrets is actually nice, right? The thing about Obliterating Orb is while it effectively denies mana, most of the reason for mana is initiative, right? The reason we wanted that mana is so that we wouldn't have needed initiative. Think about it like that. The reason we wanted that mana is so that we could tap it, play a second Wrath, and then kill the Drow on the upkeep without needing initiative into the mid lane. By orbing, he just gave us that initiative. So when you think about it like that,
They're on to the Sanctum.
it doesn't really
Very
matter that
accurate
much,
for
right?
Stormtroopers.
That's kind of the whole idea. So we
And
pass
we will
here.
see.
And he had the assault here. I didn't know that at the time. I'm still going to be playing around the Quorum because it's a very brickable card that I just don't want to let hit the board. So we're going to use our initiative to clean this up.
Last one this round.
And Prey on the Weak not found, but so much cycle and so much, mana refresh and utility available for Swim. with the second Sanctum, or the third Sanctum rather, in hand. Able to kill the Drow here to play Solitaire mode. The Zaps. with
Very
all these
importantly,
spells,
this
able
kills
to
the
kill,
Kana to the
but he has
upkeep
no
as
Sanctum
well.
Here, so.
Yep. Won't be able to do much here, but
So this is
he
an
really
interesting
wishes
turn.
he was able to do
I'm
that
looking at this
first
blink dagger
in
of
that
mine.
first lane, so he
They're not
could do
showing it
more in
here,
this lane,
but I have a blink dagger
with the
and
destruction of that arcane.
thinking about how I'm gonna use it.
Magnum Sanctum. He can't do
Blinking
much.
Luna
Blink dagger going out on
can't be
Luna.
nice.
Does he doesn't even have time to play another Sanctum. I guess he has to move her somewhere to get her ready.
Now you can find a second charge on, or another charge on the Eclipse
and
by
I
blinking the Lunas for the
realize
third lane.
so this is
Yeah.
where we're
Which
just
will
like
work if
Well,
and this is
there's
really
no
important with
Zero.
mono blues, which is just like identifying your win condition, right? You have so much flexibility, you can kind of win in whichever lane you want, but you have to pick very carefully. So I'm doing the math, deciding whether I want to try to fight for right into conflag or kind of abandon it. A bit of a risky decision. When you're blinking Luna, keep in mind you're getting free eclipse charges, but you gain eclipse charges for blinking her forward or backwards. It doesn't really matter left or right. It just matters how many lanes ahead you blink her and where you're actually casting eclipse. If you're casting eclipse on any random lane, you are effectively generating one eclipse charge. So let's say I want to cast eclipse here, left. I'm gaining one eclipse charge whether I blink her right or left, right? Because on the left lane, I will have one more eclipse charge at that point, right? So I'm kind of thinking about all this when I'm making
Action
this
phase. Thought I
decision.
had to hit something.
No?
Wow.
The way
You don't even
to,
have to
I
hit
guess the way to
anything?
think about it is if you don't know where on the board you're going to eclipse, if you assume it's 33% chance to eclipse anywhere on the board, blinking her forward one space, the lane that's going next, which, you know, could be right lane to left lane, the lane that's going next, blinking forward one space gives you on average 0.67 eclipse charges, whereas blinking her two lanes forward gives her on average 0.3 eclipse charges.
I don't think so.
Oh my god.
We'll check now for science. 5 charges on
That's
Eclipse.
Usually this math doesn't matter because
If
usually you
Luna
know
moves
where
to
you
lane
want to
3.
eclipse.
That's another charge.
Well, we'll find out. Let's not misinform people.
Okay, here comes science. You know, I always say it's okay to lose a game as long as you learn something. Every single game, try to learn something, even if you lose. And today,
Oh, and
Chad,
here you see me salving this
you're gonna
creep
learn
because
something truly
I just want to
incredible.
keep
Will Luna
the
get
2
another
damage
charge,
up.
even though there's nothing
Honestly,
to
salve
hit?
is a shit card.
Action phase.
Whenever I can use salve
I
to
did see it.
just try to
Oh
deal
my
a bit more
God.
damage, it's
And
kind
the
of worth it.
Eclipse charges are
Yeah,
up
it's gonna be
to
6. That's gonna be 6. You don't have to hit it.
So I'm gonna play for initiative here.
Agnum Sanctum can be refreshed,
And
then
we're
another
gonna
Sanctum
see-
Can be played.
We're going to see this important value on the left side come in. Keep in mind. So we gained an eclipse charge by blinking. We're up to 6 eclipse charges for the left lane. And Lumi knows that if he's counting. So we're going to play for initiative. And we're just going to chill Arcana on the left side. If he overcommits into us, we're going to annihilate. If he undercommits into us, we're going to eclipse. And Eclipse Annihilation have
Lane
such a...
3.
If Annihilation was nerfed as a
Luna
card,
cycled
Luna
through
would
most of
probably
his
be
cards, Tiny
trash.
Planet, Arcanist Soul,
Because
and Lost in Time
on paper,
also
she
here.
kind of shouldn't
Oh,
be that
okay.
good, but
Tiny
she
Planet,
synergizes so
206
well
8.
with the
Low light for Lost
Annihilation.
in Time, I have to say.
Double Stonehawk Cloak comes down to save against Thunder God's Wrath, for example. And Swim is just really just setting up this mid game, making sure to have complete
Okay,
control for the
so-
late game.
Now that's a lot of luck.
We
Got the
locked Blink, we
dagger
locked
for
Arcane
3
Assault.
rounds.
That's an interesting
actually
lock.
Pretty significant, I have to say. Annihilation 3 as well. 1
I can comment on the
that
Lost in Time
Annihilation.
here. Lost in Time might be wrong to run in this list. The reason I'm running it is the ramp matchup, where, I mean, using Lost in Time on mana 6 against ramp actually just feels good. Like, even if they've already gone off, like, stopping their top end and just, like, ruining their timing can actually be very powerful. It's a cute one-off.
So is available to be played.
We talked about Lumi having
It honestly
very
never
little
really
gas
feels
left in
bad.
his hand, but now someone has stolen his car, apparently.
That's
Okay,
right.
so the
gas,
con is
he
dead on
left
the
it
upkeep
side
here.
Of the road, and Lumi's going to come back to his car, and the freaking tires are going to be missing. This is rough stuff. Now, very sad to say, though, Ogre Magi did not multicast a single one of those spells, which would have been really
Okay,
detrimental.
so
Imagine he will
Ignite and
draw 2
Conflag on the
cards to start this
lane
round, but they
means
will be
that
locked due to
these
the
creeps are going
hourglass.
down to
So Lumi
1,
left with only 2
Zeus is going down
options,
to
or 3
8,
options for this
and
round.
Treant is going down
Prey
to
on the
7.
Weak. Under Secrets
So,
of
of course,
Gusting
a
has to
6
take
charge
only one
Eclipse
more
will
tower, but
clear that
still
up.
35 HP on lane number 3.
And
Variance
because I
36
do that
HP on
math
number
and
1.
realize that
Very
a 6 charge
intelligent
Eclipse will
idea to
clear it
bring
up,
that con of the
I decided
first
to
lane.
put the Ogre on, or sorry, I decided to put the OD on the left lane anyway, because I'm thinking about it, and there's no way I'm going to annihilate this, because the Eclipse will clear it up no matter what, just because I have Ignite and Conflag on this left lane. It's really important when you're playing mono blue, or even maybe some other blue decks, maybe like blue-black too, anything running Luna. It's really important to try to prioritize conflagging and igniting left lane, because left is just the fight lane, And whenever these are in this lane, especially having one Ignite makes a really big difference, because then your Eclipses will one-shot creeps instead of two-shotting them, which is huge. The fact that I have these improvements on this lane allows me to just keep owning the board.
So that she can get those creeps there with all that damage that's
Kana
coming
will
in.
have the upkeep
I think,
kill,
honestly,
do the conflagration and ignite.
in my opinion, I actually currently probably don't value this enough. In the early game, I ignite non-left lanes, I think, actually too much. I should ignite left lane more. Because, like, the long-term value, you just want one ignite
This is going to
coming
be
down
a
here.
big old prey on the week. However, at any cost of ready to go.
Golden ticket purchased by Swim.
Yeah, boy, this is it, Swimmy boy. Here we go. Richard Garfield's last hurrah. Can Richard save Swim before it's too late? Find out here at Artifact Mighty Triad.
Swim has 14 cards left in the deck.
So I'm thinking about, like, using Astral Imprisonment. I know I can't use Astral
He
Imprisonment
has to find one
because
Volcanics,
I know
comes down,
Lumi has
6
had
charges,
basically
able to kill
full
Zeus,
access
but
to his
not the
item
Treant
shop.
Still.
Oh,
Wait.
Gust at the ready.
Something
here.
went wrong with my
Only
math.
two
It
options.
was the armor on the Treant. Because this is why I put the OD down here, because I thought it was enough charges. I didn't calculate the Treant giving the armor for against the conflagration.
Under Secrets comes down for card draw, but unfortunately for him, it
Which
will be
is a
locked for
misplay,
now.
and I had to...
I like that.
You know what?
Managed
So
to
this
not-
is interesting. Putting the OD on this lane might have actually been a misplay then. The question is, would I have taken that Annihilation? I think the answer is yes. I could have actually been in an awkward position if the Treant had died instead of his... I think it was Zeus, the blue hero here.
Knocking out before any doggies could be
Math was
drawn.
wrong.
Even if he's gusted now, he doesn't have too much left to play. 5 mana left for Swim. Show me the golden ticket. Richard, what do we have for dinner? Oh no. Oh no.
The Shield of Basilius actually wasn't bad.
Pretty bland.
This felt
Lost the
fine.
gold on the purchase.
Oh, Papa.
Went
Was
from
it-
9
did
gold
this
down to
actually
8,
end
but
up
some
being
armor Could
value?
be helpful.
Oh, Papa, no. Okay. We're running out of time. Now, we are running out of cards, too. So that
I think that is a misplay. I'll call that misplay number
that
3.
Bolt of Damocles has got to be coming anytime soon.
I mean,
and let's not forget, this
would
tower
I have
gets
even
20
annihilated
HP.
that
Any one of these towers
if I
gets
didn't have the
20
OD
HP
there?
in lane 1 or lane 2. Swim has an insta-close, whereas Lumi does
I'm not sure.
So he just
My
has to
OD
keep
doesn't
these
really do
towers
anything
alive.
wherever it goes.
And they're pretty
Because I'm a little
healthy.
scared of
I
him
gotta tell
actually
you, 36 and
annihilating me
35,
mid if
buddy.
I put OD mid.
Diabolic Revelation can come down for card draw.
That is true. But do you want to risk it? You could cut somebody deep.
Blood.
Not that.
So the Shield of
Somebody
Basilius
died.
actually saves me a
Capella
total
drawn
of
for
4
even
health
more
here,
card
which is
draw
kind of nice.
and the prey on the week, which could be enough to push damage onto one of these towers.
Did you just see that? Outworld Devourer gave a little bit more mana. So we could do another Compel and get another card draw. And it could hurt Treant Protector more emotionally than physically. But it
Thinking
would
about
still
using
hurt.
it at any cost here. I wish I could pray, but
All
he has Ignite on the board. I'm
Decisions.
actually... So,
Decisions.
I'll tell you, I'm doing the math right now.
could
Look at his
Astral
tower.
Drizzle.
It's 37
Yeah.
minus 6. I'm doing the math. I'm like, okay, 5 dogs with prey. I'll set it to 21. Honestly, if I had a damage item, if there was a way for me to set it to 20, if prey set it to 20 instead of 21, I think I actually would take it here. But setting it to 21 is useless
I wouldn't do much.
because it's
Frizzle?
outside of bolt
You
range.
can Astral Imprizzle.
So I saved my
Mine
prey for
is-
later.
That is the Imprizzle right there.
Compel comes down, puts the damage onto Kana instead. We see the lock card there from Under Secrets on Lumi's side. Zeus doing his own thing in lane 1.
He is about to go freaking bananas on this tower. Oh!
Yep. And we're just going to let him annihilate us. We know it's coming,
And looking all
but
right here,
by
although
annihilating us, he's
initiative-
passing back initiative on the next lane, which is
Going
actually a
down,
pretty
Does come
important
down,
turn
Arcane is
for
still
it.
not there for Swim to take control of initiative. And Lumi does stall out this lane a tiny bit. 6 damage
That's more than a tiny bit, baby.
to be done. Golden
And I
ticket
think
could be answered from Lumi, but
overall-
instead goes for
I know this isn't a common matchup because not a lot of people are playing Storm, but this is a very, very much how this matchup often goes. Storm will blurs their load early, or in the mid game, sometimes not so early. If you're playing very well, I think you can counter it usually. And once you do, you kind of own the board. You have a lot of very targeting and reactive spells, and they are extremely targetable because they're running duo colors with very squishy stuff. And in situations like that, you can really lock them out of a lot of play options on every lane.
the safe second hourglass.
So, like,
We do have a blink
for these
dagger
last 3
coming out
turns,
for
we've just been
Swim.
completely running the
Drow
board,
Ranger
and he's
gonna
had
probably
no
be put
options.
in that third lane because he's expecting somebody to blink from the first lane. And if they do, they're going to be instantly met with a gust. As, surprisingly, those lock cards are going to be in play next round.
Now with a single bolt that has been drawn, it is in Swim's hand. He has the option to take down one of these towers. Lane 1 or lane 2. But the third tower that has to be taken down naturally at 6 health right now is the one that Lumi wants to defend.
Yes.
So this is a really, really important play. I'm thinking about green threats. Obviously, we see some amount of lethal on this board. If we're looking, we can see mid tower is within bolt range, and I have the double prey in my hand. This is really important.
So
we can see the
he knows
gust
he's
in
probably
Lumi's
gonna
hand.
Get hit with a gust if he blinks in the lane 3.
Yep.
So, he's
So I
not gonna be
can't.
able to
I
cast anything,
actually
but he
have to
will put a
respect this
body in
blink
there.
so much.
Play on the week does look fantastic.
I want
here
to play a
for
lot of things,
Swim.
but I have
There's
to
the
cutting
Van Leeuwen
plan
answer
to
back
play
double
around the
Van Leeuwen
gust.
to answer back from
So
from
because
Lumi.
I use
That's gonna be a lot
initiative-
of damage, actually.
He don't got no blue heroes, so he's got a little bit of time, buddy.
That's true.
This
But
would
next
be.
turn,
Are the
this would
casters
be
not
the time
gonna?
to do a double prey on the week? This would
Are
be
the casters not gonna mention this? This play won me the game. Casters, please. This cutting plan, I would not have won if I didn't have initiative here and use this cutting plan. I get gusted out and shut out, and that feels really bad. So it's very important. We didn't really respect his annihilation on the right side because we were in a situation where if he passes this initiative, we feel very good. And we can curve
some
the cutting
massive
plan.
damage. Potentially,
Basically,
could take the
one of the things in this matchup is the green has no threats except for Gust, right? Like, I could have used Eclipse there and locked him out of green plays, but then I'm using too much mana. I actually can just win the game if I lock him out of Gust simply by using Cunning Plan.
Tower in the mid with this double prey on the week. Let's see the damage.
yeah, there's going to be enough, I think.
He's out of there with that. Could that have been a mistake? The double prey on the week from our boy Swim. That's enough damage. Oh,
Too little, too late. Lane 1 goes down.
My
Lane
God.
2 has 5 damage on the tower plus the bolt, but we're going to see a blink onto the Outworld Devourer to win the game for Swim.
my boy Swim
They're just shouting in the
coming
background.
down from absolute destruction in that early game. But that is the problem with Storm. If you can survive the storm, if you can weather the storm, you can rebuild a new America. E.g. USA, USA, hell yeah.
Okay.
And the second or the first bolt
So,
comes down with just enough damage
overall,
here with the damage from
I think we
Susan
played this
Howard.
game pretty cleanly. I think we played it basically exactly as we had to. There might have been a few minor misplays. It's possible putting the OD left on the turn we did could have been a little bit better. It was a pretty clean game. It was very, very difficult to win. I think if I play a little bit worse, I think I do lose that game. If, for example, we save our Luna on turn 2, the game is literally lost instantly. Or if we don't Astral the Ogre to keep it alive, and he has a good hand that can react to us. So I was feeling better about this game than the first one, where I kind of misplayed. And it's so hard to say in a misplay like that whether I could have won that game, because it was so early on and that game felt so unfavored. But you have to imagine it was possible still.
Devourer to take this win, tie the series 1-1. Swim is now done with Mono Blue. He will move on to his next deck, but Lumi is stuck on this Storm deck and has to find the win with it. We saw Moogie Baby go out completely, did not find the Storm, still lost. Lumi found the Storm, but the reset from Annihilation, the lack of initiative from Lumi, and lack of Gust as well was not able to stop that and was taken down.
Cool, calm, collected head came back from
Game would have been a lot closer if Lumi didn't burn his second incarnation. Leaving the tower at 1 this early is fine, IMO. He could take it with Arcane Assault. I don't think that's right. I mean, so you just watched the game here, right? Where was a turn that he actually had the ability to play Incarnation for value? I mean, Incarnation isn't really a good card. I have Disruption potential to stop it from ever coming out early. I mean, the whole point of Mono Blue is once you gain control of the board, you own every single lane. In situations like that, if he doesn't take that tower there, I can very easily Annihilate and then defend it. Even though it gets taken down to our Arcane Assault later, if he doesn't have initiative leading into that turn, I can stop him from doing that, right? Because my entire deck is just nukes and initiative cards. Besides, Arcane Assault is such a powerful tool that being forced to use it on a lane that you don't even necessarily want to use it as an initiative card on, even if you have that opportunity, is really bad. The main thing is, like, if you watch that entire game, there's nowhere where he can actually sell a mana for value, right? Like, as soon as we nuked the board, we were just killing his heroes every single turn and not really letting him play the game.
From that horrible looking loss and managed to find a way by just buying time. Now, He cannot play the Outworld Devourer deck again. That is his secret weapon. He knows that he's up against Storm. Lumi got the perfect draws, still not able to close out that game. However, the second deck, I would say not that strong against Storm. This was the deck to deal with the Storm deck, I would say.
We'll find out. I mean, Lumi, if he gets... Again, he had the turn 3
So what
incarnation.
Slacks is saying is correct. Like, I was feeling comfortable with that matchup. Mono Blue versus Storm is something I've practiced. It's something, I mean, I think Mono Blue is a better tier of deck and also a relative favorite. If played, it's tight. It always feels like you are potentially one misplay away from losing, but it does feel like you usually just end up winning. However, at this point in time, I was sitting in my chair right here. I was thinking to myself, how the fuck am I going to win this third game? Because that's a bad one. Ramp versus Storm. For those of you guys who don't know, the Storm deck was basically almost engineered to beat Ramp almost every time. That's like maybe a 20 or 25% matchup, I think. Which is crazy when you think about it. Because Ramp is so fundamentally high rolly. I mean, when you think about it, Ramp has much more 50-50 matchups than any other deck in the game, right? Like, Ramp's inherent nature fundamentally gravitates its matchup win rates closer to 50% and further from the extremes, just because you get it or you don't, right? It's kind of solitary. But despite that, it's still like an 80% matchup for Storm, despite that, which is crazy. That's a matchup that feels really, really bad.
Double incarnation. He pushed one tower, but then the reset, like you said, from Swim, was able to just take all those resources and just throw them out the window.
Yep.
Steal his car as well.
Take his tires.
Yeah.
You
Win that round. Lumi has been searching for a match. Swim again. Maybe going for a drink of water. Going to stay hydrated in this last match.
Very good idea.
Of today, actually.
I did actually go
Indeed.
for a drink of water.
Man. So, the question on that one was...
So I was actually just kind of fucking with them. So when I was up here on this bench, sometimes the players will take like 5 minutes and you just have to like stall. And you just end up saying like funny shit when you're in stall mode. So I just like, I went, refilled my water. And I'd like to see what they're going to have to ask Pull to actually just like keep this conversation going. I think for any of you guys interested in playing in tournaments, some advice I would give, like, take like some actual cooldown between games, especially if there's an intense game. I went up, I splashed some water on my face, I did 10 push-ups, got some water in my cup, and just cooled myself off.